I got this from a harmonica instructional DVD.
You watch harmonica instructional DVDs.
Well, it's because there's important messages, and the harmonica teacher was talking about a lesson that he learned from watching another legendary blues harmonica player.
Where did you buy this?
It was on the internet.
You searched for it. Welcome to a brand spanking new episode of What's on Your Pedalboard. I'm your host for today, just today, not any other days. And this is Paul Gilbert. He has a pedal board, and we're going to dissect it. We're going to get down to the nitty gritty of what's going on here. Mm-hmm. You excited?
I'm excited. I love building pedal boards. I love using pedal boards, and so I'm happy to talk to you about those two things. Do you want me to just start explaining, or do you have a question?
I'm going to lead you on a journey of understanding yourself.
Okay. Free therapy.
I'm excited because we came to your house and we filmed our little ditty.
Right.
And you had a bunch of boards. You had wood everywhere.
Yeah.
You're like a DIY pedal guy.
Why? I mean, what fun is it to tell your tech you build it?
Right. I like that about you. There's a certain...
Why let them have all the fun? That's the fun part.
It's ridiculous.
When
if you do that...
If it comes like lifting the 412 cabinets, then go ahead. But, building the board, I want to do that.
But when it comes to putting your toys on a board, it's like Legos.
Yeah.
Okay. First question. Guitar, cables. Let's just cover the peripherals of...
I'm going to go fast because this is not a pedal.
All right.
But first of all, I just had to match the tie. I've got a bunch of Fireman guitars with various pickups, and I like them all, but usually, I get the tie first, and then think which guitar is going to go with it. And I thought this one was pretty good.
So the question about the guitar, for me, is do you have to change your settings with different pickups, or do you let the pickups dictate a fresh sound to the current settings?
I would probably tweak the overdrive pedals just a little bit. The humbucker is going to be a little thicker sounding than a single coil, or the mini humbucker is kind of in the middle. But most of my pickups are relatively low to medium output. So with the exception of one guitar that has X2N Power Plus DiMarzios, which are just
they get hot.
They're frightening. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have like the free X-ray. But anyway, that one it is almost like having a separate clean boost pedal on your pedal board with that guitar. But the Fireman's, which I typically use, have even though the pickups look different, there's a similar tone, I think.
And one of my favorite things about you, the coily cable. I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
Why do you like the coily cable?
I'm clumsy.
Okay.
If there's a straight cable, the chances of me tripping over it and falling down and embarrassing myself are pretty high. And wireless, I don't know. There's batteries. I'd rather not use batteries.
Yeah.
And plus, the Hendrix, you look at the old photos. And when I was a teenager, I had one. So, I'm re-experiencing my youth as a coily cable user.
Okay.
I do have the muting jack.
I noticed that.
And that
today.
way, it doesn't go blah, 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 and just plug it in and you're ready to go. So that's kind of nice. Do
you notice a darkness to the coil cable?
There might. Well, I only use that one, so I really nothing to. I don't. Someday go. Well, let's compare it to a straight one. I'm always use the coily, so I wouldn't know.
It's not crazy, but I like it. It does a little dull.
In theory, there's supposedly some capacitance.
It's Sagan has some things to say about that.
Yeah. No, actually, before we move on, though, the one thing I should mention is the slide magnet.
Oh, absolutely.
Which is underneath the pick guard is a neodymium, I think it is, magnet that holds the chrome steel slide. It's got to be a chrome steel. If you just get a regular steel, a little magnetic, but not enough.
Glass will just break.
Glass would be troublesome.
On the floor.
You'd cut yourself. Yeah. But that works real good. And then you just have to develop. You got the aim.
Show us your smoothest move.
Yeah. Well, you start the first thing was to use a pick scratch during the transition.
Yeah.
So when I first started with it, I'd playing along. But now
I'm
getting faster with it.
You're like a wizard. now. I've
that's-
watched some video, like people commented on our video.
Yeah.
And it's seamless.
Well, one of the things is you got to lose the fear of banging the guitar.
Yeah.
And that sound. You got to like start going. It's okay for there to be a thwunk. So if you're going. There's a nice sustain to it, and I like that thing. I'm kind of amazed because I was always a really lousy slide player.
Great.
But just because it's here all the time, I get to practice more, and if you practice it, you get better.
Yeah. And for the 25 of you watching this video, you're complaining that we're not to the board yet. The slide is in effect.
Oh, okay.
Right?
The hot dog is a sandwich, and the slide is in effect.
I think it is, and that's why we're allowing this time. So now, for you guys, we're going to move into what you really want. I like talking to the comments that haven't happened.
Yeah.
It's like
Nipping them in the bud.
It's like cutting them off at the pass.
Yeah.
Because there's like 5% of people that were like twitching. They're like,
You said this about a board.
So Paul, start us off with this pedal. It's purple and white, 2 knobs. Looks suspiciously familiar to me.
This is a mysterious pedal. It's a Voodoo Labs Micro Vibe.
Yeah.
Which has a very nice, distinctive wah 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 wah. So I've never tried drugs, but this to me sort of does the trick of just.
That's the sound of drugs.
Yeah.
That's a great pedal, very underrated. So it's a photo cell univibe. Who's your
Well, that's
favorite?
things you know about.
Yeah, it's just old school. It's the first modulation ever, 1967.
Ooh.
Invented in Japan.
Yeah.
I could keep talking, but we're moving on.
So I did modify it
Okay.
visually.
Yeah.
Because I love Robin Trower and that he's associated with that sound. So I took.
Is he your favorite univibe?
He's my favorite for
character?
a lot of things.
Okay.
Yeah. And including the Univibe. So I cut out, or I printed out the Bridge of Sighs album cover, which is the most famous legendary
that
Robin
makes-
Trower album.
Yeah.
And I in Photoshop I made it purple, and then printed it out, and then I taped it. I took all the knobs off so I could do it relatively clean. Took some clear packing tape, and put the Bridge of Sighs album on the front of that Microvibe.
You're crafty.
I just want, if I want something, I try to make it happen.
You can only do what you can do,
Yeah.
and you did it.
So I wish I used this one more, because a lot of times the songs in my set are a little hard driving, and this one you really need to have like the band kind of sitting back a little bit, and you still do those long, slow. Oh, you have the distortion on too. And the band's like a slow boom, dum dum,
Yeah.
dum dum, and I don't have tunes like that in my set. So, but this is like a pedal of hope
Yeah.
that someday I will have a song like that and I'll be able to use it more.
It's killer.
Yeah.
And next to it,
Next to it is Van Halen 1, the Script Phase 90.
those are, as an effect, they're similar. Like, a phaser is not a univibe, and a univibe's not a phaser. Like, that's
Yeah.
a confusing thing to a lot of people. But a univibe is more phaser than a chorus, technically.
Well, to
but
me, you just listen to the records.
Right.
Listen
Yeah.
to the Bridge of Sighs, and you're going to hear.
very different.
Yeah, you listen to Van Halen 1,
so yeah.
and you
Show us
hear
that.
like. there's that thing.
It's awesome. And you have it all the way down, phase 90, just...
It's not quite all the way
okay.
down. And that one's modified too with the knob because I take these little rubber O-rings that I order on Amazon for like $5. They come from China, and it's like a whole box of O-rings. And I take the knob off, stuff the O-rings in there.
I just happen to have the screwdriver. How about we show people?
I'll show you. I'll show you.
Take it off?
Yeah, so take that off. You unscrew that.
Wow.
Oh, you know what? That's an Allen wrench.
Yeah, that is an Allen.
Okay, so you do one of your pedals.
Yeah. Oh.
Now there's the O-ring. Now the knob you picked is one of the trickiest ones because that's like that rotary one. So the whole board has those O-rings under it, every knob.
And that makes it harder to turn.
Yeah, you can still turn it.
There's no accidents.
But if you're less likely to bump it with your foot, or when the pedal board comes out, after the opening band, it doesn't get bumped. Now the Phase 90 has a knob. It comes stock with a knob that doesn't have a screw tightener.
Right.
So on some of those networks, like the Catalinbread stuff, I'm able to just push it down somehow. The knob is tight enough on the shaft where it'll still press down on the rubber O-ring. Yeah. But the MXR one, it wouldn't tight enough. So I stole that knob from a Full Tone Deja Vibe, and press it down, tighten it, and now it works great.
That's really cool. Yeah. That's a great idea.
It's actually really important because otherwise, you go on stage and you press the thing and it's like it's the wrong setting, and what's the point if it's the wrong setting?
Again, you're very crafty.
I'm just trying to get it done.
All right, next in the chain.
Okay, next is a JHS Bonsai, and I set this as sort of like a little bit of distortion, and it's for two purposes. One is to have a little bit of distortion. The other is to boost the one that comes after it, so to hit the front end of that harder. And let's hear it. So here's without it, and here's with it, and I'm happy already. So for that, I always think of like my favorite like small amount of distortion song is "Stay With Me" by the Small Faces, which was like. The keyboard goes. And that's just grooving, and it feels right for that. Now, with this, I have a thing, it's real friendly for being able to stop, or even play clean. Like if I clean up my volume a little bit, So if there's like a breakdown in a song or something where I need to like bring the dynamics down, I'll use that one on its own.
Okay.
And it's still, compared to having no distortion at all, like that's almost too dynamic. I don't want that much dynamics. That's scary for me. So this like softens it up a little bit, but it's still dynamic. It's still got this space. I couldn't get that without it.
Yeah.
And then if I hit it, I get some grind.
What mode?
And it's a really nice green.
You're using the MSL, so the Ibanez Metal Screamer.
Okay, well, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, you just liked how it sounded. So there's 9 modes.
Yeah, I wasn't looking for metal. I was looking for low end.
It's not really a metal. There's just marketing. Yeah. But they called it the Metal Screamer.
But basically, I just went through the settings, and when I heard the low end kind of go, whoa, I was like, oh, that's the one I want.
Yeah, it was big, beefy.
Yeah, it was beefy. Yeah. And as you can see, I've got the tone almost all the way down.
Yeah, which is wild.
But it's still... guitars are trebly things, and plus, mostly these days I hardly even play chords, so I'm mostly doing the high screechy stuff. So it's a little less screechy if you have that setting.
All right. What's this next guy? I've never seen it.
This next one, you'll probably be very surprised by this one, but it's a PG-14.
Who makes that?
It's I can't remember. JTK or something like that.
JTK.
Yeah.
Oh, that's that horrible company from Kansas City.
Anyway, this one actually is, as time goes on, I'm ending up replacing the distortion pedals I used to have on my board.
That's awesome.
And it seems like one is doing the job, and I just keep finding cool settings. This is one I end up cranking up the push a little more today, and I'm kind of liking it. So again, here's without it. And the thing I'm surprised about is the feel of that is I've got a lot of distortion. You know, it feels like nice because I have sustain, and I've got you know, I don't have to hit super hard to get things to happen, but I can stop. And I'm you know, not as loud as I would be with a drum set.
Yeah.
But I've tried it with drum set volume. A lot of times I can have that wide open, and it's, I don't know what magic you did in there, but it's really nice to have that, because that's one of the most fearsome things about playing electric guitar is like you stop and it goes.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it'll do that a little more if I turn both on, which I do sometimes.
Yeah.
But I know that if I turn both on, that, you know, the good part is then with like the high picking stuff, I can have a real light touch, you know. And get that attack, and you know, I just don't stop there.
It kind of self-gates itself. It doesn't want to go crazy.
Yeah, so
that's cool.
So I play around a lot with those two. In general, if I pick fast or play fast, I'll turn on both.
Yeah.
But again, a lot of times this does the job.
If you're watching this, it is the PG-14 by JHS. There's a bunch of other videos on this channel, so we were kind of being silly. We're sorry. Just to clarify.
Yeah.
Now,
I'm not going to go to the next one yet because I want to just play a little bit. There's just one lick I want to play.
I feel like you're getting cold.
Yeah, I feel like my hands are getting cold. I want to play a B7, and I want to play. I don't mess that up, but it's going to be okay because of this.
Good.
Okay, I went a little too long, but I got to say what I wanted to say.
Before we move on, so you're a big fan of the TC Mojo.
Right.
There's other drives too. The Supro drive I've seen you use.
The AC booster.
Yeah, you're a fan of mixing it up, which I love.
Yeah.
I love that a lot. Yeah. So you just kind of you feel settled here, but
A lot of it's the color.
Yeah, the color.
Because
It's huge.
yeah, if you put stuff together and it's like I really need something yellow, you know, then I would go for the AC
Yeah.
booster.
I'm glad you can admit that.
Yeah, if I need something, you know, that's like dark blue, then it'd be the Super.
Yeah.
I need like a brown, you know, sort of root beer, you know, then it'd be the Mojo. So it's, you know, I mean, if it's sounding really good, then I just have to leave it. But at the moment, I mean, if you look, I think that's a nice color combination.
It's super balanced. You got all the major tones, and we hear with our eyes.
Yeah.
And you're hearing.
You have to be happy when you look down and,
Yeah.
and you see it, and I'm pretty happy.
There's nothing worse than just a boring, nasty pedal board. You know, people can do so much more. So what's after that?
After that is the Callisto chorus by Catalinbread.
That's up in your neck of the woods.
It is. I didn't know, and I like the way it sounded. I got it, and it really is awesome. I mean, I'm a big Rush fan.
Yeah.
So if I want to do, you know. Oh, I forget the wrong one. Sorry. You know, it's just a nice,
awesome.
nice chorus. I have it. Took me decades to finally figure out, but I have it post distortion.
Yeah.
It makes it smoother, a little more 80s. So if I want the 70s or the 60s, I'll hit on the Deja vibe because that's pre-distortion.
Yeah.
It's kind of a different character, and it's. But then again, I got to play one more Rush riff.
Yeah.
This is a camera eye. And it sounds
Never too much Rush.
It sounds so good with this pedal. what's the other one? I was covering. I gotta remember. It was in.
Police, yeah.
Yeah. And the soul, the. No, I got the note wrong. Or I got to. Anyway, that's the era.
That's like a perfect police tone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that pedal. That's one of my top 10 favorite chorus pedals ever. Yeah. I think Callisto is a girl that is an employee there.
Oh, cool.
I think, or did. I think that's the backstory.
I thought it was Jacques Cousteau's boat.
Both. It
No,
could
that
be
was Calypso.
Calypso?
Yeah.
Calypso. It's a good pedal. And then you go.
Then we've got following the signal path.
Yeah, let's do signal path.
We're now going to go. Well, let me see where is
into the delay.
Yeah, I think it's going to the Supro Delay.
Yeah.
And well, let's turn that off so we can hear the difference. It's just a subtle thing to make me feel better, so I don't get nervous. Because if it's just super dry, that's a little off. Like the stops are so sudden.
Yeah.
That it's a little.
Nobody wants you to be nervous.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in a big echoey room, it might be all right.
Yeah.
But if you're in a drier room, you just don't feel good when that happens. So I've used the Supro to give it a little slap.
Okay.
My
2 repeats.
My goal is to get the very ending of a Van Halen song called "Hang 'Em High."
Okay.
Because you can hear he's probably got an echoplex or something.
Yeah.
But it's just like.
That sounds like an echoplex.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
So that and it's it just adds a little room to it.
Always on.
Yeah, always on.
Okay.
I'm going to turn that off, even though it's always on, so you can hear just the next one.
Okay.
The Topanga spring reverb.
Oh, the Canyon.
Yeah. See,
clever
add
name.
that. I'm going to play something better than that, though. Let's see. Well, that's that. Maybe because I don't have a groove. I got to have a groove. I'm gonna do this groove. Let's see.
Okay.
This is the groove right here, and I got to get my key too.
Groove 3.
Yeah, in the key of G. Now I'm ready.
All right,
1, 2, 3. Notice how I put a lot of stops in there
nice.
so you can hear the reverb.
It's nice.
Now we're going to put on both of them. And now I stole this. Actually, I don't really know if he really did this or not, but I think I stole this from Eric Johnson because I was looking at a picture of Eric Johnson's pedalboard, and it looked like he had like delays running into other delays. And I thought, well, maybe I would try like a delay into a reverb.
At one time, he had a separate delay PA.
Oh, wow.
Like it had a memory man coming out of a separate. It's
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah.
So I thought, try two together.
Yeah.
And I've sort of
That's nice.
become addicted to it. And now let me do that groove again in G. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll get it right. So I'm happy about that.
Sounds great. And those are just always on.
Those are always on.
Okay. And then last.
Oh, last is the emergency, in case of emergency box.
Okay.
Which is
Prestige.
a JHS Prestige. And, we just were both experienced the NAMM show.
Yeah.
Now, every pedal board that I build is for a gig.
Yeah.
You know, I got a tour coming up, so I'll figure out which songs I'm going to play. Now, the NAMM show gig was to jam with other guitar players.
Yeah.
I had a jam with Steve Morris, and I had a jam with Steve Vai and Joe Satriani. You know,
Yeah.
good cats to play with.
Pretty good players.
But at the same time, I know that there can be like volume battles, and also I want to, when they're playing, I want to get out of the way a little bit, and you know, not be too loud. So I want to be both like not too loud, but I also want to be way too loud when it's my turn.
Yes.
And so that's, if you have an amp running totally clean, which I do, that way, even if you have distortion, as long as you put the clean boost at the end,
Yeah.
it will take your distorted sound and give you a sound pressure level, ugh,
Yeah.
you know, the boost that, you know, no matter who you're jamming with, it's like, okay, now it's my turn, and people will hear what I'm about to do. And so, you know, if just with the clean sound, you can set it wherever you want.
Yeah.
But it's a big, and then the same thing with the distortion. And wow, it's even more.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that might be too much. Let me dial it back a little bit.
That sounds good.
Yeah. Well, a little more. So
Yeah.
I had an idea,
All right.
which is to you know, do some soloing away in the guitar key of E, and every time I hit the most important note, E,
Root. Yeah, the root.
with a bend, I make it louder by pressing that button. Just only that note and
Okay.
only that bend.
I want to see this.
Yeah, so if I'm, you know, just... And the people listening,
It's really
they start
amazing.
to be, you start to send them a message. You know, this is the most important note. I got this from a harmonica instructional DVD.
You watch harmonica instructional DVDs.
Well, it's because there's important messages, and the harmonica teacher was talking about a lesson that he learned from watching another legendary, you know, blues harmonica
where did
player.
you buy this?
It was on the internet.
You searched for it.
It was one of my favorite blues guitar players plays with this harmonica player.
Okay. I just wanted to get
Yeah,
a
and
feel for it.
somehow
Okay,
I don't
okay.
remember. You know, YouTube, you end up on these
Yeah,
wormholes.
yeah.
So he was talking about. He called it the look,
The look.
and he said, you know, before you're not even playing yet, and you just look at the audience, and the message of that look is, this is the most important you're ever going to hear in your life.
Right.
And then you have to.
Yeah.
Then you hit the button, and you've accomplished your mission.
We should rename that the look.
Or the most important you've ever heard in your life.
It's like the longest name ever in a circle.
But the look is good. It could have like an eye. What look? If you had to give that message, like what you're about to
I
hear.
think it'd be, you know, it'd be like, kind of like, I don't know, solemn, serious, inquisitive. Because you want to hit them. You want to.
Well, you want to prepare them. Like
You want to prepare
get
them.
Get ready.
But you don't want them to know what's about to happen, even though you're preparing them. So it's more like turning the page without reading the first
You got
word.
a different take on it, but that's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, like something's coming. Nobody knows what's coming. It's that.
Yeah. So that's, you know, now that the NAMM show is over.
Yeah.
You know,
that goes back in a drawer.
And I'm going to be the only guitar player in the band. Well, you know, I'll bring that to the camp. I'm doing a camp.
You ever get a crazy bass player with like 100 pedals?
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
If they're making it work, they're making it work.
I like that.
Yeah.
If they're making it work, they're making it work.
Yeah.
Leave them alone. What if they're not making it work?
Then.
You ever had to drop the hammer?
The first thing that comes to my mind is I did a bass player audition when I did my first solo album.
When was this? What year?
This was like 1997.
Okay.
96, 97. And I sent the message to MI, the music school.
Right.
And I said, when you audition, this is what you have to prepare. You have to be able to play the bass line to "I Saw Her Standing There" and sing it.
Oh, wow.
You know, well, she was just 17, you know what I mean. And the way she looked was way beyond compare. And, you know, I'm not the bass player, but I can do that.
Right.
And if they can put those two things together and you know, move me or move anybody, then and you know, and Paul McCartney, of course, if he wanted to join, I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, there's one important element we still have to cover.
Yeah.
That is when you travel internationally with your band, there's this thing called a carnet.
Carnet.
The carnet with it's like maybe French spellings. You know, C-A-R-N-E-T. It looks like carnet.
Okay.
But I think it's pronounced carnet. And it's a, you know, for you to travel, you need the passport.
Yeah.
For your gear to travel, if you have a lot of gear, like more than you just take a regular luggage, you need a carnet, which is a list of the gear to show that you're not like smuggling gear or transporting without paying the duty or whatever. So, you know, to have to write down the serial numbers and the names of every pedal, first of all, there's no way I can do it because like everything's covered with Velcro on the back.
Right.
That's how I attach it. So I decided the solution is to make the whole pedal board I give it a name, and a model number, and a serial number. And so...
You go to your guitar?
Yeah. So this is it's the Superboard 909. And I give it a serial number, and then you just put that on the carnet.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, he has a Superboard 909.
Yeah, and then I don't have to worry about all the individual things. And I can swap stuff out. It's still the Superboard 909.
It's crafty.
Yeah, and also the rubber feet with epoxy. You got to do the epoxy or they're going to come off.
Man, talk about the board here. So you make the board.
Well,
what's your process?
It's a piece of wood.
Yeah.
That I buy at the hardware store.
Any piece of wood?
It's got to be the one with a lot of knot holes, because the knot holes mean it came from high in the tree, and the wood's less dense, so it's lighter. Because I'm trying to, you know, I don't want to go over the weight limit for flying.
It's fascinating.
Keep it under 50 pounds.
Yep.
And I put this with my guitar in the same case, so it gets heavy.
Okay.
And so if I can save a couple pounds by using a light piece of wood, that's a good idea. So I get the one with a lot of knot holes.
Is this stylish or just?
It is stylish.
I think it is.
But also, the first one I made, I wanted to fit in a double gig bag. So the bottom would fit like the body, and the top fit the neck. So I made the top part skinny.
Yeah.
And I ended up just sort of staying with that, and because I don't really need this for anything. Yeah. And it fits. I still put it in a double guitar case, and this gives me a little more room in the case. Yeah. And just cut that off with I mean, if the hardware store will do it, that's nice. But if not, I'll just get a, what do you call that? It's one of those saws.
Like a chainsaw?
It's not a chain.
Oh, like a
hand
saw.
Yeah, I wear gloves just in case. And then cover it. We'll spray. Actually, the first step is sand the corners.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. No splinters.
Just, sand the corners. Then you spray paint it black, and then you cover it with Velcro, and then the fun. And the other thing is I use little Velcro strips to secure the.
I like this.
The cables.
You just use Velcro strips and don't take the back off. So
you could, but then it'd be sticky.
Yeah, but that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's a great idea. You use these DiMarzio cables.
Use the DiMarzio cables. They come with a variety of some of them have angled ends, some of them have there's a straight end.
Yeah.
So I get a nice combination so it'll work, because the trick is some pedals have jacks on the top, some pedals have jacks on the side.
Mix it up.
And that'll change the kind of cable you need, because these are kind of stiff, which I like because they're strong, but they're also, you can't twist them.
Yeah.
So you got to make sure you got a good collection to work with.
What kind of power here? Let's talk about.
This is the same company as
Voodoo Lab.
The Micro Vibe is Voodoo Labs.
Pedal Power 2.
Pedal Power 2 Plus.
Okay.
And you go to a country with another voltage.
Be careful.
And you're not my guitar tech now, because he's the best guitar tech in the world. Previous guitar techs have plugged it in to the 240.
What was that like?
And poof.
Poof?
You get about half a second.
Puff the magic dragon?
Before something smells kind of funny and nothing is lighting up anymore. And so I tried to make it kind of obvious. I label the power supply. I label the Well, that's just so they know it's mine.
Do you have a 240 one?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I always bring this because it just ends up being easier. And then on the other, like way down where it's plugged in, is the thing that says 120. So just as they're plugging in, they see like, okay, it says 120. Think before I plug it into the 240 or the 100. In Japan, which is 100 volts, you get about 30 seconds before it melts. So you get a little longer there. But in Europe, the 240, it's gone.
What is your worst nightmare situation that's happened to you involving a pedal board live on stage? Just what's just it haunts you, like,
well, it's
you never want it to happen again.
It's Pittsburgh, which is where the nearest big city to where I grew up. So I have this fear that everybody who I went to high school is in the audience, and they're all going like, "Yeah, we know you're not cool. You're that this dumb kid that we went to school with," and I'm imagining that. And so I want to be really just the best. Don't put on the best show I ever did in my life. So I get all excited, like, okay, I'm gonna rock out, and I end up like kicking the pedal board so hard that I'll kick the power cable out, and then there's no sound, and then I'm not cool because I'm silent. So that happened.
The thing I like about your rig, I've watched it closely over this last year, and you're always evolving, so your Instagram is fun.
Yeah.
You're always showing it. What's your Instagram handle?
I believe it is Paul Gilbert _official.
It's on the screen right now, right here somewhere.
Okay.
And that's fine. But yeah, it's always fun to watch how you piece together. The board's clever. It fits in this case. You can go anywhere in the world. It's really cool.
There's a nice room between each pedal, so my giant foot is not in danger of...
A lot of room. You could fit 5 more pedals, but you don't need that.
Well, I mean, because I get into this state, I'm making faces and I'm, and I can't be thinking like, okay, get my little thing. I'm too much in a state to deal with the little things. I can only have big things when I'm doing that.
It's great. It's awesome. And this has been really fun. Well, that is a wrap. Thanks for watching this edition of What's on Your Board. Go to
Pedalboard.
What's on Your Pedal Board. Thanks for watching this. I had fun. Start that over.
You need a pick scratch.
My pick scratch ending.
3, 2, 1. Better pick scratch. Let me flip the pick around.
That was a perfect ending. Perfect ending to this episode of What's on Your Pedal Board. Go to sweetwater.com for all kinds of amazing gear to build your own board, to do some of the stuff he's done, or the other episodes, whatever. Like, subscribe to the channel. It's awesome. I don't have anything else to say, except this was really fun. And you're fun. And pedals are fun. And I need to quit talking. I'm like a talking trap. We're gonna slow fade you jamming and me just talking because I can't stop talking. Play us out.
Okay.